here. That's where all the flavor is. About May's book of the month. That takes more energy than you think.
I've been out of my head, can't get out of bed. Too much on my brain, but got it good, can't complain. It's like I'm losing my mind.
I ain't gonna lie, that run almost turned into a walk. After that first mile, well, doing the first mile, I was like, I can walk a little bit. And I was like, get yourself together. I think what it is, I'm not used to holding like this GoPro selfie stick when I'm running, and that takes more energy than you think. But once I got that disabled and put into like my little pack that I wear around my waist, we ran some decent times. Also, some days I just feel heavier than other days. Like today, my thighs feel heavy, like ridiculously heavy. It's just life with running. The run is done. All I got left for today is Pilates, which I think I'll do later tonight because I want to run to Lowe's and like do a little things around the house today, and maybe go to the river as well. Memphis sits on the Mississippi River, so that's like one of the great things about Memphis. And I just love to be around water, but it just kind of gives you this calming feeling just to watch it ebb and flow and know that it could be powerful and strong to destroy stuff. It could nourish you, and it could just become beautiful and serene. So in other news, somehow the wood broke on this panel on my back deck. So I need to get the measurements for it and then go to Lowe's so that I could put another wood thing down. But all the wood around it is hard. It was just this one little piece, so I don't know what happened. Oh, I don't know if it's gonna be able to stick to this wood. Okay. And even though I refuse to do garden work in the front of the townhouse, I am gonna cut this big old bush down, because what is that? So I think I butchered the tree, and I actually cleaned out some of the leaves out of this bed, and I think that's a plant and not a weed, so I left that there. But again, who determines what's plants and what's weeds? And we're gonna leave this in the sun for a little while to see if it shrink it up. But if it's not like shrunk by tomorrow or the day after that, I'm just gonna come out here and bag it up. I didn't end up going to Lowe's or going to the river, but I did get my video edited and uploaded to YouTube. So what I want to do is make a tofu recipe. I've been trying to get more vegetarian protein in instead of like eating out of carbs and fat. Y'all see here, I gave up peanut butter until July. So y'all see me being cranky. It's because I don't have my peanut butter, Rice Krispies, and honey. I don't know how I'm gonna survive. So this is just some tofu that I cut up. I froze it originally, and then I unthawed it, cut it up, put it in vegetable broth so that it can kind of soak up those flavors, and then we're gonna make some chicken nuggets. And I'm gonna follow this recipe from Smit. I don't know how to pronounce that. Simnit. Who knows? I'll put it on the screen. And also I'm gonna make air fried green tomatoes. I just gotta find that recipe. I think it's in the Forks Over Knives app. I think that's where I saved it at. And I should get about, let me see, because I got another picture. So let me see how much protein is supposed to be in this. For half a serving size, I believe I got about 6 ounces over there. So for 180 calories, I should get 18 grams of protein with these chicken nuggets. tofu chicken nuggets. And also they say like you freeze the tofu and then unfreeze it because it changes the texture of the tofu so that it's kind of not so soft. I guess it gets like a bit of a thickness. He didn't soak his in vegetable broth. He just kind of dipped his in there. But I soaked mine overnight.
Life feels good, life feels great, life feels good, life feels great today. Life feels good, life feels great.
He said something completely crazy that I've learned to stop listening to. A teaspoon of this seasoning, a teaspoon of that seasoning. You need more than a teaspoon of seasoning, especially like for tofu, like, because that's where all the flavor is, the seasonings. And he said something about some poultry seasoning. I don't have poultry seasoning. I don't cook meat. I don't have it. So I just put some thyme leaves. His poultry seasoning was green. Thyme leaves are green. Maybe I add a little oregano too. I don't know. Parsley flakes, that's green. Oregano leaves. Oh, this not even open.
Life feels great today. Today.
I also put Worcestershire sauce, vegan Worcestershire sauce, in with this vegetable broth as well. So that's why, like, you see like the brown coloration on it. Trying to put as much flavor in this as possible. He did not suggest it. But in the past when I've made like other dishes, vegan dishes, they use Worcestershire sauce like when they're trying to go for chicken or like a meaty flavor. So I just thought this might work here too.
Don't know what the future.
So they look pretty good. They almost look like chicken nuggets, just like this, like uncooked frozen chicken nuggets. So I got high hopes for this. So next thing is almost like the same process, except they want me to have 3 different things. So this is a air fried green tomato recipe from Forks Over Knives. But I already have like this mixture that I was using to coat the tofu in. Oh, so this don't call for a wet mixture. Dredge in the flour, dip in plant milk, then coat with the paper. In a shallow bowl, combine panko, paprika, onion powder. Okay. We still got these panko crumbs from when we did the tofu. So I just need to add seasoning to this. Place flour in the second shallow bowl. In a shallow bowl, place this. Okay, so they want me to have, let me change this batter because I don't know why it took me that long to figure out what this said.
Life feels great, life feels good, 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 life feels.
I don't think the bread is coating them really well. Like it's like some spaces that didn't really quite get the panko crumb mixture on it. I still am very hopeful, but let's check on these tofu chicken nuggets. Oh,
Great, that feels good, that feels great. I feel good, I feel great, I feel good, I feel great, I feel good.
while the tofu and the green fried tomatoes are getting brown in the air fryer, I want to tell y'all about May's book of the month, which was Memphis by Tyra Stringfellow. I will say that it may be triggering if you have like a history of trauma or reading about trauma, physical and sexual trauma, domestic violence is a trigger for you. I wouldn't recommend it, or I would say like read kind of with caution. It doesn't go in depth, but it does have some stuff in there to make you go, oh wow. But for the most part, it touched on 3 generations of a family just going through like the maternal bloodline of the family and relationships, how different marriages looked. It touched on civil rights history, especially how it relates to Memphis. So they talked about Dr. Martin Luther King death. They talked about segregation. It talked about forgiveness, karma, it was kind of weird in how like they dealt with like an incident that happened in childhood between two cousins. So in the book, it's a pair of sisters, and one sister's son assaults another sister's daughter, and they're like 8 and 3 when this happened. And somehow something happens. I don't want to give away the whole book. Something happens, and the sister whose daughter was assaulted ends up coming back to live with them like years later, and just them navigating being in the house, knowing that this assault has happened in the past, and like the kids navigating it as well, and then just how his life turned out and like the background of him. So it's more, it kind of gave a vibe. One, forgiveness, karma. Everybody has a story. Nobody just turns out all bad. Somebody has a history like that, want or need to hurt somebody or whatever, comes from somewhere, basically is what it's saying. And then it just talked about like a sense of community and black community, especially like during the civil rights era and segregation, like how everybody kind of stuck together, and like your neighborhood was your family. Like y'all had spats and stuff like within the neighborhood and stuff, but y'all wouldn't let nobody coming in to hurt y'all. So like I laughed, I cried, I cringed. It was a really good fiction read, and I personally like how Memphis was portrayed in the book much better than how Ed Jerome Dickens tried to write it. He probably did write it some kind of way, but his was like fiction. At least this one had a bit of stuff that I can relate to, places that I knew, true love. I would recommend it. And I've already ordered June book of the month. I'm just waiting for it to come, and that one is going to be a non-fiction book, and that's all for that. That absolutely is not all about this book. It also touched on religion, and so it just kind of talks about each of their belief in God, whether they do believe or don't believe, or they say they don't believe but they still acknowledge that God exists, but they mad at them or mad at him. It does have like a little bit of that questioning God, and how like certain things could happen, like if it is a God, if all of this stuff is happening and he is supposed to be the creator and person who soothes and comforts you and protects you, then why do these things happen? And so it does have a bit like of that in there as well, which I enjoyed that as well, because we all have questions sometimes. Some of us kind of make peace with it, some of us just like we're gonna find hope in it and just know that he's there. So that was good. They were Catholic, so I was like, they Catholic. Duh, black people could be Catholic, but I was just like, they was Catholic in Memphis? Where was these people at? Where was they at? Now that is all. Making a green salad to go with it, because once I saw that the fried green tomatoes and the tofu chicken nuggets looked the same color and it was all brown and it didn't look healthy. It didn't look healthy enough. There's nothing green on the plate basically, and it gives this salad like a little bit of crunch as well. I ate the chicken nugget, but we're gonna eat it again for the camera. It's crunchy, it's softer than chicken. Because it is a tofu, for the most part, it'll do. Like, it would definitely do. And I flavored that real good. When I be saying a teaspoon of anything in a recipe and it's garlic and onion powder, just double it. Instantly double it in your mind. Okay, only time you need to follow something specifically is probably like when you baking. But when you cooking food, and they be having this little amount of seasoning, nah, babe, we finna season this up. We gonna do it, okay? And then this fried green tomato. Normally I would eat this with a fork and a knife, but we're gonna do it with our hands. And I made like this Dijon mustard Greek dill sauce to go with it. I didn't show myself making it because It was a whim, and it's not quite tasting how I wanted to taste. This is supposed to have tofu in it as well. I put the recipe that I loosely followed, except I didn't have tofu, so I tried to substitute the tofu for the Greek yogurt, and it's not right. It is not correct. I feel like if I would have had some extra tofu to make this with, it would have been good. It's still alright. The Dijon mustard, give it a bite, but that aftertaste of that Greek yogurt in this, it's not good. I'm gonna eat it because I made it, but I would never say, guys, make this. No, but I will eat a recipe that I tried to do a riff on from Forks Over Knives right here. Theirs could taste possibly 1,000% better. And also, if this was made with tofu, it would have had protein in it. If I don't pick up the camera anymore after this, I want to encourage y'all, try some new stuff. Stop at cooking. If y'all been being like trying to save time and efficient like me, which means you haven't been cooking, you haven't been trying new things, you just been going with the flow, with the usual, then definitely try to cook something new. I'm going to leave these recipes below, as well as the YouTube channel that I got this chicken nugget, tofu chicken nugget recipe from as well. And I will see you guys next time. Until then,
And time's hard to find. What's a girl gotta do to catch a break up?